There's a feminist uprising in Spain. Women have taken to the streets.
You have to believe us when we say we have been raped.
Ser una mujer es casi un deporte de riesgo.
For the past year, they've been protesting against gender-based violence.
Mujeres, guerreras, despertad y uníos a este ejército que inunda las redes, las calles, el mundo entero.
La revolución empieza hoy, la revolución empieza aquí.
Right across Spain, protests have reignited.
It all started with this, Spain's most high-profile rape case in recent memory. In 2016, a teenage girl accused 5 men of gang-raping her during the running of the Bulls festival in Pamplona. It happened right here. The 5 men who called themselves La Manada, which means the Wolfpack, dragged the girl into the hallway of this building and filmed the attack on their phones. The girl said she froze in terror, but the judges who saw the videos ruled that her behavior was passive. And under Spanish law, a case can be treated as rape only if there is evidence of violence and intimidation. In April 2018, the Wolfpack were found not guilty of rape. On that same day, thousands of women took to the streets. The verdict led to months of protests across Spain.
After the Wolfpack case, the feminist movement definitely exploded. It was something that I have never lived before. So we went out with a lot of signs to claim, "Sister, I believe you," to support her. And we started to question the sentence, even the judges and the legal system.
A trending hashtag emerged on social media, Cuéntalo, or tell your story. As a result, the government promised to make changes to the sexual assault laws. This was a big win for Spanish feminists. But Spain's powerful feminist movement is facing a backlash.
Hacer a España grande otra vez.
A far-right political party called Vox is gaining ground. In many ways, they're similar to other extreme parties in Europe, but they have something unique. They've been accused of declaring war on women.
No hables en mi nombre.
No hables en mi nombre.
No hables en mi nombre. Soy mujer y no quiero vuestro burka ideológico.
Spain is the only country in Europe that has a specific law that targets gender-based violence. It's designed to better protect women from domestic abuse and brought in courts which only prosecute men. But Vox says this law discriminates against men, and they want to abolish it.
Vox are holding an event right here in Pamplona. What I want to find out is why women would vote for a party that is openly anti-feminist.
As a woman, do you feel represented by Vox?
Sí.
Sí, totalmente. Sí, yo me siento representada por Vox como mujer.
O sea, ellos representan a lo que es la familia.
La unidad española, que para mí es fundamental.
Vox es el único partido que da esperanza.
The president of the party is Santiago Abascal. He says his top priority is a united Spain. He also says that Spanish feminists turn men into guilty people just for being men. He's against abortion and wants to abolish subsidies for feminist groups.
Vox está contra del aborto. ¿Qué piensas de eso?
Estoy muy de acuerdo porque el aborto debe ser para mí ilegalizado, al igual que hay muchas antitaurinas que dicen que no hay que matar a un animal, yo digo que no hay que matar a una vida humana como es un bebé.
Pero Vox dice que no existe la violencia de género.
No existe. Vox defiende a la mujer igual que defiende al hombre, porque hay muchos hombres que tienen muchas denuncias falsas.
No quieren derogar la ley, quieren cambiarla. Quieren protegernos a nosotras pero bueno, yo también tengo un padre, tengo unos hermanos, el hombre también es raza humana.
They say that Vox is a misogynist party, that they don't like women.
Nada es perfecto de nadie, eso ya lo sé.
All the women I spoke to in there said to me that they support Vox because they love Spain, they want Spain to be a united country, and they feel represented by Vox as women as well. A lot of them were really young, 17, 18, and I was quite surprised that they said they agree with Vox about the fact that there isn't a problem in Spain with gender violence.
Vox is a small party. They only won a handful of seats in a regional election, but they're going up in the polls. So, do they really want to roll back women's rights? I'm going to the capital, Madrid, to their headquarters.
How are you? Nice to meet you. Come in, please.
Is there a problem with gender violence in Spain?
Spain is one of the countries in the world where it's safest to be a woman by all stats. Spain unfortunately has between 45 to 55 women murdered every year. Now, about half of those are murdered by either tourists or immigrants. Half of those murders are not committed by Spaniards.
But the Interior Ministry says most killers of Spanish women are themselves Spanish. They commit nearly 70% of murders relating to gender violence.
Why do you want to abolish the law that protects women against gender violence?
So one of the things that's unique about Spain is that we've been passing certain laws that treat women and men differently. The laws that have been passed are assuming that men are always guilty unless proven innocent.
So are you saying that the law at the moment discriminates against men, basically?
Absolutely. The law discriminates against men. There are men courts that only judge men. So if a couple gets into a fight, even if it's a verbal fight, by the way, the men will be judged in a gender violence court, the women won't. What I'm saying is, all violence should be treated equally. Everybody should be afforded the same legal rights, not just a certain amount of women.
Clelia, killed by her father. Isabel, killed by her son. Sara, killed by her partner. Victoria, killed by her partner. So all of these belonged to women who were killed by men.
Last year, 47 women were killed in Spain by their partners or former partners. And 2017 was the worst year on record for violence against women. Nearly 160,000 women suffered domestic violence. Marina is one of them.
Me quemó, me insultó, me humilló, me violó, me cortó. Incluso llegó un punto en que me daba igual que me matara. O sea, ya estaba muerta por dentro, ya no podía hacer nada más.
Why didn't you report him to the police?
Porque hay una sociedad que también se justifica y te culpa y se avergüenza, y sobre todo que te enfrentas a un sistema que no termina de entenderte. Eres tú la que tiene que señalarlo, eres tú incluso la que tiene que decirle a la policía cuánto riesgo corres de que te mate. O sea, hay una evaluación de riesgo que se mide evaluándote a ti en vez de evaluar al maltratador.
The government has promised to change the legislation on sexual assault. What do you want to see?
Hacen falta muchísimas cosas y si no te ayudan psicológicamente nunca te vas a atrever a poner una denuncia. Entonces necesitamos que haya apoyo psicosocial y te acompañen en ese proceso. El infierno no es que acabe con la denuncia, es que empieza.
And all this support is not there at the moment?
A nivel, a día de hoy no existe.
Spain was a dictatorship under General Francisco Franco until 1975. During that time, women's rights were stripped away. Without their husband's approval, women couldn't work, own a property, or even open a bank account. After Franco's death, everything changed. And now, in 2019, the Spanish government says it has the most feminist cabinet in the world, where 2/3 of ministers are women. But some believe that violence against women is still ingrained in Spanish society.
Things are better for women in Spain, but we still have a problem with machista society. We have noticed that as we advance in gaining women's rights, the machista society is getting stronger too, because they try to punish our victories. So, for example, since the Wolfpack case happened, we have had more cases of gang rapes in Spain.
Marina is now very open about what happened to her, but that's quite rare in Spain. Only about 20% of women report sexual abuse, partly because they don't feel supported by the system. But the government is trying to change that.
20% is really low, isn't it?
20% is very low, and we need an improvement in our legislation. It's possible that the criminal code in this area is going to be changed. Because after the case of the Wolfpack, it was also a demand of civil society, a demand of feminist organizations that ask for a more effective response in this type of crimes.
The reforms that Pilar is working on would bring Spanish legislation in line with countries like the UK and Sweden. Any sexual act without express consent will be considered rape. But will that be enough?
It's a step in the right direction. It's never enough, because the main problem is that we still go through a completely patriarchal society.
Most of the feminists, like me, we don't think it's enough, because sometimes the victim is not in the position or don't feel like capable to say yes or no in that situation because they're shocked.
Right now, I mean, we are not even half the way. I mean, it's something that we will last for a long time if we can keep going, because there's so much to change. At the end of the day, we are trying to change social education from when we were kids, so it's kind of hard.
And bringing about that change in society could get even tougher. The country holds a general election in April, and there's no guarantee that a new government will keep the promise to better protect Spanish women.